Hey guys, we have a very Uranian week underway this week as we move towards our new moon in Aquarius that is happening on Friday. And it's really all about some major changes that are underway right now. People could be feeling very emotional as well. There could be some powerful emotions that are kind of like taking us for a ride, especially as we move into the energy on Thursday, and things are probably just not going to go according to plan. We have an exact Sun-Uranus square happening in fixed signs. This is disruptions, okay? Disturbing the peace, disruptions to our comfort zone, perhaps shakeups, things kind of coming out of nowhere, shocks and surprises, expect the unexpected, all of the traditional Uranus language. Very probable, okay, as we move through the energy this week. And we also have an exact moon Pluto conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. When I say people are probably going to be having some powerful emotions, I mean like this is some cathartic type of stuff, and it may be having the impact of actually like altering the plans and agendas that we thought we had going on. We have a lot of astrology to talk about, you guys. Let's get into it. Let's see how all this is coming together for us as we move towards our new moon on Friday. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we are going to be talking about the energy, of course, for today, the 7th, but also we are going to focus on the energy for the 8th. We've got a couple big exact activations happening on the 8th, which of course is building us into our new moon in Aquarius that is happening on the 9th. So we really do have some supercharged, we could call it that, astrology to talk about and happening midweek. And as a result of that, whenever we have a strong Uranus energy going on, like things just have a tendency to be kind of like all over the place. We might feel sort of like a chicken with our head cut off, like fires happening over here that we need to put out, and then something happening over here, and pulled in many directions, and just like not able to stay on our proper course or proper trajectory. That's just something that sort of has a tendency to happen whenever we've got a strong Uranian energy. And this week it happens to be an exact square. Squares, of course, are the most tension-inducing aspects. When we've got squares or 90-degree angles playing out, it's sort of like things coming to a head. It can cause some type of conflict or internalized conflict or challenge that needs to be overcome, and it can just make things a little bit difficult. And then we're talking about Uranus in the sign of Taurus and the Sun in Aquarius. There could just be things happening. This could also be, Aquarius is an air sign, so there could be news, information, messages, conversations, like something informational or along those lines, or just the way that we're thinking, something that is like disrupting the comfort zone somehow, like disturbing the peace. And of course I'm saying that because we're talking about the sign of Taurus, where Uranus is. This is Venus. This would be our comfort, our security, like our peace, the beauty of things, okay, the status quo also. So it could be, a rather, on some level, maybe uncomfortable week in terms of the stuff that's going on. It could also be just like a very tiring week and like overstimulating week. If we can take and make a conscious effort to ground ourselves as we move through this energy, I think it will be sort of beneficial to like our heart, soul, mind, spirit, all of it, okay? So intentionally working to stay grounded and not allow ourselves to kind of like get whipped up in the frenzy of all the perhaps chaos or tornadoes or lightning or whatever is going on, as a metaphor for just the way that things could be raining down on us or impacting us, blowing through our lives at this period of time. Also, now that I'm like making all these weather references, I should say Uranus in the sign of Taurus with this air energy Aquarius, like this could also be bringing like weather, like literal weather that kind of comes out of nowhere. So if you live in areas that have a tendency to like get sudden storms and stuff like that, maybe pay attention to it, because Uranus in this earth sign Taurus, it can just, whip up weird random like electrical storms or tornadoes or just like random storm type of situations. So something perhaps to keep in mind. But anyways, one thing that we can be pretty sure of is that, whatever is happening right now, the changes that are happening right now, even the weird stuff that is happening right now, even like what appears to be like totally insignificant and is just like an annoyance messing with our day or messing with our plan. Things that are happening right now are actually quite purposeful. Not only do we have a very strong Uranian energy happening this week, but we also have a very strong like nodal focus. The nodes of the moon, destiny and karma, the past and the future, what we're releasing and moving on from, what we've been attached to in the past, and where we're going, where we're growing, what we want now, what we're evolving into, what we're becoming, being emphasized. And this is actually because Venus is currently in the sign of Capricorn, and Venus is very significant when we're talking about the Uranian energy right now, because as I've said, Uranus is in the sign of Taurus currently. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and whenever a planet is in a sign making aspects, we've got to know who the ruler of that sign is and what the ruler of that sign is doing, and that gives us more clues about how the aspect that planet is making is functioning, and maybe the purpose behind it and how it could be operating on some either deeper or more physical 3D type of levels. And when we're talking about the Venusian energy happening in the sign of Capricorn, this again is bringing up, we've got Uranus in the sign of Taurus. This is resources, this is finances, this is agreements, partnerships, assets, okay? This is like a very financial energy. It's a very material energy. It has to do with food and stuff like that as well. It can have to do with art and stuff like that also, like creative things. But the Venusian influence as well, like this is gonna have to do with relationships, like I said, maybe long-standing commitments or partnerships or financial agreements or something like that. And Venus is in Capricorn, but she's also in an exact trine to Uranus himself. And she's also in a square to the nodes of the moon and actually to Chiron also. So any relationship wounding that's going on right now, anywhere we are healing from past relationship wounds, like there is a huge element of either like relationship stuff, financial stuff, value-based stuff, maybe resource, asset, material-based stuff, or even like our preferences, our desires, and what we're wanting. Like there is something to do all week. And actually, this new moon cycle coming up is talking about this too, undergoing some type of dynamic radical change. And then, we have the energy this week talking about it. And then as we move through this month, if you guys have been following along with my February analysis of energy, I've been talking about how we've got personal planets back to back to back to back coming into alignment with Pluto at this 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is functioning as sort of like purge, regeneration, rebirth, psychically, subconsciously, of like our relationship to the archetype of that planet as it functions within our psyche. Okay, it's sort of like resetting various dimensions of our consciousness as we hit these 0 degree Aquarius Pluto conjunctions, which can only happen once, you guys, every like 250 years, unless Pluto like retrograde, unless there's some weird situation where Pluto like retrogrades in such a way that he stays at 0 degrees of Aquarius for like a year in order for all the planets to get back to 0 degrees of Aquarius together to hit that again. Like it's just, I don't know, like I don't see how these alignments with Pluto at 0 Aquarius and all the personal planets like in their march to come to that conjunction can happen more than once every 250 years. And even the fact that it would happen during that one time every 250 years, like even that is super rare, because Pluto does move very slowly, but Pluto's not at a degree for a whole year. Pluto might be at a degree with retrogrades and stuff, might be at a degree for a month, but it would have to be exactly that month if he was at that degree for that long, when it would have to line up exactly when that procession of planets was coming through that 0 degree to hit that season. And the fact that he also entered Aquarius like with the sun, like they left Capricorn and moved to Aquarius, like the divinely oriented orchestration of all of this is literally like a spectacle to behold, you know what I mean? So it's really honestly like some type of cosmic magic, the way that aspects and transits are coming together right now at this period of time. But anyways, sort of like coming back down to earth, Aubrey, this could be really changing the way that we are relating to ourselves, to the world around us, what we want, what we find valuable, what we're desiring. And as a result of that, relationship changes, financial changes, changes to our image, our personal presentation. Like I said, especially when we get Pluto or when we get Venus into the sign of Aquarius, which is coming up here, she will hit Pluto at 0 degrees and then start moving through Aquarius, at which point Venus and Uranus will also be in a mutual reception with each other, blended energy in each other's signs, while, you know, we're going through this purge, regeneration, renewal of the Venusian energy within us as well. So I feel like we're going to be coming up on a time here where people are going to be sort of like mass reinventing themselves, mass redefining their personal presentation, their personal image. Makeovers of all kinds are probably going to be a very prominent feature of sort of like the rest of the winter, moving towards the spring with this very strong Aquarius energy, maybe even throughout the rest of this year, honestly. But I do think that we are probably going to be seeing stuff like that. This could also, with all this Venus-Uranus energy, indicate like unexpected purchases, unexpected investments, or, you know, it's just this desire for something new, for something different, like no longer being able to like, or having a desire to, you know, walk the same beaten path over and over again. Like we want something stimulating, we want something exciting, we want to experience something new and different. We want to, again, like reinvent ourselves. That's what I keep coming back to in the context of how I feel like this Venus-Uranus energy that's really about to get turned up is going to be functioning. But all around, you know, weird stuff happening this week. It's not going to be a normal week. It's a Sun square Uranus week, and we've also got Venus trining Uranus. So it's 2 direct hits of personal planets with Uranus, while we have Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Like super weird stuff happening, hard to call, right? Things just not going according to plan. And another aspect that I feel like is going to be growing within us, and that may be sort of characterizing some of these identity changes that are going on right now, and the changes in preferences and desires with the Aquarius Venus energy that's coming through, and also the Taurus Uranus that's being activated by the square in Aquarius, the sun in Aquarius. This is a desire, okay, for like what is real and what is authentic also. Like we can feel, and this is going to be a growing thing as well, we're going to be able to feel and perceive like psychically more tangibly any insincerity, any inauthenticity, any like lack of honesty or integrity in people, and it's going to actually have the effect of being like quite a repulsive force, okay? Whereas in the past, we've got to remember, okay, there's some things that we need to have a very clear understanding about, like as we move forward in time. And this is part of the hyper novelty that I keep talking about. And this is part of the breakdown in centralized control, the breakdown in authority that I keep talking about, as well as we move out of this Capricorn generation and as we move into this generation of Pluto and Aquarius, which is bridging us, anchoring us actually into the larger Aquarian age that we will be moving through over the course of the next 2,000 years. When we are in the age of Capricorn, this was centralized control, okay? And in this energy, following the rules, maintaining the image, keeping the peace, falling in line, okay? Acting and behaving and exhibiting ourselves in such a way that maintained the hierarchical like power structures and dynamics that were the framework essentially of our reality and of our societies and of our existence. That was the energy from the past that we're moving out of now. And whereas in that energy, establishing our success in the world was a byproduct of following those rules, you know, like if you follow these rules, if you follow this template, if you stay in alignment with this path, you will get this result because of the hierarchical centralized nature of power and control and the systems that have been put in place and established, okay? But now, so following the rules, being a certain way, okay, was rewarded in that energy. This energy that we're moving into now, And as we move into the age of Aquarius as well, this greater 2,000 year period, that is not the case, okay? Whereas success previously had been derived by following the pre-established rule book, essentially, success going forward over this next 20 years, moving into this greater 2,000 years, is about self-governance and the cultivation of personal potential that can then be translated to a collective benefit or service somehow. Control was the power mechanism of the past, right? Hierarchy and knowledge maintained in the hands of the few to control the masses. Now knowledge is the power. Now, like, you know, as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, knowledge is the power mechanism of the future, but it's not centralized anymore. It's decentralized. So, you know, the age-old saying, right, that knowledge is power is really back again, and in some very significant ways, but it's in the hands of the individual, and it's our responsibility to do the most we can with it, okay? Moving forward, you know, it's going to break down over this next 20 years. We're gonna learn how to work in this new energy, and then moving forward into this new age, you know, we're going to come to find that we don't necessarily like have a boss, or we don't necessarily have someone that we're answering to. Like, our relationships to authority and experts are going to be much different than they are now. We are going to find ourselves just being much more responsible for an array of various different aspects of our lives and of our own well-being, whereas in the past we may have surrendered our power in those areas of our lives to people and experts and professionals and this, that, and the other, because we didn't have the knowledge or the information, or we didn't perceive ourselves as being able to, you know, understand things properly in such a way to like take care of those issues for ourselves. And as we move forward and we are going into this air age and we are in this air generation, it's going to expand our minds. We're going to learn, okay? We're going to gain information, and information is also going to become like the new currency in a lot of ways. There's going to be a much greater like emphasis on the value of knowledge. So therefore, it's not the value of power anymore. It's the value of knowledge. Like, and also Capricorn is the earth sign. It's all about money. It's like who had the money and who had the control. Like, that's where the power was when we were in the Capricornian energy. And who made the rules, right? Now we're moving to the Aquarius energy. This is who has the knowledge and who has the ability to see potential, and then to create processes and systems that are self-governed in such a way to manifest that vision into reality, to create that potential in the moment, like, or in the, you know, to bring the future into the present in such a way that is like consciously creating our own reality. That's what this energy is teaching us how to do. And our mind, I'm telling you guys, like, we're going to go through energetic shifts, frequency shifts within our mind and within our psyche that actually make this process much more organic than it sounds, perhaps, as I'm describing it. It's going to happen naturally with a lot of people, like, just because our mind is going to start working differently as like different synapses, or like even areas of our brain and neural pathways begin to open as these like frequencies, you know, like light up the darkness, you know. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, and it's going to be different for everybody, but that is just the vibe. Like, it's like a lightning bolt that is recalibrating the system and like lighting up areas of the brain or pathways in our mind that we haven't used, or that we haven't used in a while. And also, you know, I do feel like this is going to be bringing on also like extra sensory like abilities and stuff like that in certain types of people, like telepathy, okay, being extremely like able to feel other people's energy. And also, before I got off on this tangent about, you know, the differences between the Capricornian Pluto energy that we're moving out of and the Aquarian Pluto energy that we're moving into right now, the reason why I even brought that up is because I was saying we're going to become much more sensitive to anything that is insincere, anything that is fake, anything that is superficial, anything that is like surface appearance, that in the past would have been preferable because it would have maintained the status quo, it would have kept the peace, it wouldn't have rocked the boat, it would have been in alignment with the rules. But because that energy is no longer supported moving forward, there's also not going to be the level of magnetism and attraction to people who are operating out of that previous framework, okay? And because that behavior is no longer being rewarded, because we're just not attuned to it, that it's also going to, over time, over the course of the next 20 years, people are going to stop trying to implement those methods to be successful. That's why, Aquarius is also all about authenticity, and Uranus in the sign of Taurus, this is all about authentic potential, okay? And we are awakening Uranus, the great awakener, to our own authentic potential so that we can, in this new energy that is requiring, as I said, self-governance and the cultivation of personal potential as a means to translate that into a collective tool of benefit or good somehow. Because again, Aquarius energy, Aquarius is all about the individual, all about how the individual is unique, but it's also about how that uniqueness fills a void in the overall collective that is necessary for the whole tapestry of consciousness to come together in a way that is in alignment with the cosmic blueprint and the collective evolution of humanity right now. We all have a role to play at this point in time in the shift of the ages. And, we are anchoring these new frequencies to the planet right now. And that's a lot, I feel like, what this parade of planets, procession of planets hitting the 0-degree Pluto right now is about as well. This month of February is helping us to recalibrate, okay, our psyches, our subconscious mind in a way that is going to be receptive to this new process that is cosmically underway right now. And some day-to-day things, okay, that we can do to get in alignment with these energies. This is an age that is all about information, right? It's, in what we know, knowledge, understanding is the point of power and the point of value. Learning something new every day, even if it's small, is going to help us as we, introduce ourselves to these new frequencies. Study what you're interested in. Learn to do basic things for yourself, even if, it seems pointless. It's not in this energy when our task really is kind of like self-investigation right now, figuring out the best ways to create systems in our lives to maximize our potential and our ability to be successful, in and of ourselves, to be resourceful, to be self-reliant, to be self-governing, that word I always come back to. And, it is this is also an individual, a revolution of the individual, sort of. There's going to be a lot of rebellion also that is going on in this energy, and things are going to heat up, you guys, especially as we get into next week. We've got a pretty explosive Mars-Pluto conjunction that is happening at 0 Aquarius, and things could definitely get very testy, very volatile as we move in the energy of next week. But, keep in mind, everything that's happening right now is part of a very important process, and things are happening in the way that is going to clear the best path for true progress to be made going forward. So also, let me get back to my list. Learning how to make things from scratch, that can be helpful. Learning how to grow things, that can be helpful. Just learning how to work with the world around us and getting a better understanding of what we have, what our resources are, and what we can do with them, detached from what other people can do with them for us. Okay, this is us taking, this is another thing I've been talking about, and it's a process of reclaiming personal power as well, and doing that in small ways by doing things for ourselves maybe that we would have outsourced before, and finding the meaning and the purpose in that. That is also going to help us as we transition into this new energy. Being creative, okay, do art. If you've got any type of creative bent, go with that, and put nurture that, okay, as we move through this energy. Writing also, we are in a 20-year period right now that is empowering the air energy. Writing, journaling, planning, poetry, taking notes, observations, any way that we can get words, like we can come up with our own like we can take our own internal dialogues or like our own internal observations, our own internal thoughts, and put them down on paper. I feel like that is just a way to like consciously work with this energy, expanding your vocabulary, you know, exercising your mind, having conversations about your ideas. People are going to be, we're going to find people going to be much more open-minded to things that they may have like just wanted nothing to do with in the past, especially when it comes to like taking a deeper look at things, gaining a, you know, a broader understanding, or you know, just a more in-depth perspective about stuff, like penetrating insight. That's another aspect of the way that the energy is coming together this week with all of the Pluto energy. But we always want to make sure we're keeping a critical mind. We want to have an open mind through this process and like the new information that we are attracted to, but we also need to be very skeptical and critical of things, because there's going to be a lot of new truths out there that have been withheld or that we haven't had access to for long periods of time. But there's also going to be a lot of information that is like disorienting that truth. So just as much as there is kind of possibilities for anything right now, there is also not necessarily the same probability for everything right now. So we just kind of want to keep an open mind, like I said, but also a very critical mind about everything, and, you know, sort of take everything worth a grain of salt. But we also want to use everything and all of those salt grains as sort of like a database, kind of like in our mind, to make connections and to sort of like inform the patterns that we experience as we go through this period of time that is going to bring an influx of information as well. Let's talk specifically about the energy for Thursday now. Oh, and also, I didn't even say on Wednesday, the moon is going to be in Capricorn in a conjunction to Venus as well, and in a trine to Uranus, and in a square to the nodes. So that's another reason why I was like emphasizing like the kind of like artistic nature of the day. This does promote refinement, form, structure, beauty, and these kind of like sudden ideas or epiphanies or flashes of insight, perhaps along the lines of creative potential, when we've got Moon and Venus in a conjunction, and also in the trine to Uranus, and Venus is sign of Taurus. This is also square the nodes. So, you know, Venus right now and square to the nodes, there are fated things happening to do with, you know, perhaps creation or art, beauty, stuff like that, but also, of course, the relationships and the financial end of things. But now let's talk about Thursday. This is the day where we could really have some very deep, powerful emotions coming up, the ultimate emotional purge, release, renewal energy. The moon ruling our feelings, ruling our emotions, ruling what's going on inside of us, our internal environment, coming into the 0-degree Aquarius conjunction with Pluto. So by the time we get through Thursday, we will have had the sun, Mercury, and the moon, okay? The soul, the spirit, and the mind all having gone through this purge regeneration process with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. If you feel it welling up inside you guys, let it out. Don't hold it in. Like, that's what this energy is for. People might honestly be so randomly emotional about stuff that they didn't even know that they were holding inside of them on Thursday, that like it literally disrupts whatever was going on, interferes with plans, interferes with schedules. I do think there could be a likelihood that these powerful emotions that are coming up as a result of whatever is happening in the moon Pluto 0-degree conjunction, simultaneous to the sun Uranus square exact that is also happening on Thursday. That is what is the big news about Thursday. That's why Thursday is kind of a big deal this month, because we have the sun square Uranus exactly, and we also have the moon, our other luminary, conjunct Pluto exactly. And of course, Uranus is ruling the position of the moon and Pluto, squaring the sun, also in the sign of Aquarius. So this is, you know, like I said, whenever we're talking about Sun square Uranus, this is disruptions, this is disturbances, probably going to be to the peace or to the status quo somehow, shakeups. But with Pluto and the moon there, this is going to be like very emotional, and this is just going to be hitting like on some very, very deep levels. Highly disruptive, weird, random, impulsive, spontaneous, like upsets, shakeups, shocks, surprises, emotional responses perhaps maybe that we weren't expecting, or again, just like things coming up out of nowhere that are kind of like sweeping us away in like a flood of like these powerful emotions coming through. Give early degree fixed sign people a break today, you guys. They're probably the ones that are really going to be going through it, but you know, also actually the more later degree fixed sign people, because of the Sun Uranus square, and also air signs generally, and also cancers might be kind of like having a hard time today with the moon coming into a conjunction with Pluto as well, but probably a lot of people just emotionally going through it. It also, like with the moon and Pluto coming together, this also could be like people like literally getting like sick to their stomach, like the need to purge that way as well, like things sort of just like coming up and coming out. The day is kind of just a zinger, to be honest with you. You might be feeling a bit uncomfortable, feeling just sort of like not at peace, okay, like you can't relax, also things being very out of control, and like a sense of like insecurity possible as well. But it's just like, long live Uranus. Uranus is ruling the show. It's all about the planet Uranus, and when that is going on, like there's really nothing that we can do except surrender the burden, say, you know, okay, I'm giving it to a higher power, and I'm gonna have the faith that somehow things are working in my favor, and you know, this is going to be a good thing in the end somehow. We've got to embrace the change that comes with everything that's going on right now. We've got to trust God, we've got to trust the process, and we've got to trust ourselves also, that you know, we're going to know what to do when the time is right. Remember, there's also a very like divinely timed element to all that is playing out. And another thing about Uranus energy, it's here for a fun time, but not for a long time. You know what I mean? Like when Uranus hits, it usually, like its impact generally, especially when we're talking about like the Venus influence, it can be bringing people into your life that have a very significant impact, but are like in and out. You know what I mean? It's like things happening in a flash that could be totally life-changing, but have no permanency, but their impact is something that stays with you forever. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of encounters, of meetings, of connections that have a tendency of happening when we've got Uranus operating. It's not about the permanency of what's happening, it's about the impact that what is happening has on moving us in, changing us in a certain way that moves us towards like some type of higher plan somehow, because that's what Uranus energy is always doing. It's always seeking to facilitate future potential to come to pass through removing blockages essentially to authentic and organic growth. So that's where we're at, and that's what's going on. Probably gonna just, like I said, be a couple of days that are all over the place, and we do best to just go with the flow and to choose to believe and expect the best to come from whatever's going on right now. Uranus is silver linings. Uranus also brings blessings in disguise. Uranus is the galactic fixer. And we are moving towards this new moon in Aquarius, this lunar cycle coming on Friday that's going to be really significant. And, you know, as I've been talking about, like, this is just a couple of days out of this month-long process that we're going through right now, which is going to, you know, end up looking something like a hero's journey through the underworld, what I keep calling it, with all of these Pluto conjunctions, you know, taking us into the shadows, like bringing us face to face with our own, perhaps like toxic emotions and toxic attachments and toxic relationships, and the limitations that we have existed within as a result of that need to come to the end now. This is ending cycles of toxic and unbalanced and inauthentic attachments that have been causing us to surrender our power and work against our own potential, or ignore our own potential because we were focused on something that was not really, you know, a necessary part of like our mission in this lifetime. So anywhere we've been getting off track, you guys, anywhere we are attached to things that are not serving our highest growth at this point in time, those are the things that are going to and the experiences that we're going to probably have to face in order to grow into this next phase of cosmic awakening and conscious awareness that is coming to us now. That's what I have to say about the astrology, you guys. Let's talk about the tarot cards for a minute, because honestly, it was a powerful tarot reading that came out today, and it's super in alignment also with everything that's going on in the astrology. We actually okay, so we've got the World that came out. So we've completed a cycle. This is what this is saying to me. And then the other cards that we have, look at this. We have the Devil and the Hierophant, of submitting to like some type of authority or some type of hierarchical system of power and control. And then the other two cards that we had came out are the Knight of Cups and the King of Cups. This is like powerful, like receiving something that empowers us on an emotional level, or some like powerful like outpouring of or delivering of emotions. These could be, again, it's reminding me so much of this Moon Pluto energy that's coming through right now, like some type of powerful like emotional release or understanding or a conversation or an experience or an interaction or an encounter or an epiphany or a realization or something like coming up from the depths of our unconscious or our subconscious that we are gaining a conscious interaction with, that is actually having the impact of empowering us on an emotional level or generating some type of powerful emotional response. But it's about, like, it has to do with the Devil and the Hierophant. And then we're talking about the World, releasing ourselves. This is also could be emotional control, okay? This could also be where we have been controlled emotionally in the past by some type of like, authority or rule that, or like system that we felt we needed to operate within, or, you know, we're talking about the Hierophant. So this is hierarchies of power and control, right? This is the expectations that like people above us have for us. This honestly, to me, this reading is talking about, and that the Moon Pluto conjunction also, and Venus in the trine to Uranus. I'm telling you guys, this is talking about coming to a point in time where cycles of toxic attachment, especially on an emotional level, are coming to an end. Places where we have been controlled through our emotions as a result of, you know, surrendering our power to somebody that we felt was above us in a way that, you know, actually was stealing our own power and blinding us to our own potential. That's literally, like, I feel like what this is saying. And with the World card there, like, that's what's coming to an end. That's the cycle that is being completed, which also, you guys know, if you've been following my channel, I've been talking about this karmic detox that we've been going through. That was the last nodal transit, Taurus and Scorpio, North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, the karmic detox and all this Aquarius energy. Aquarius is an energy that breaks karmic cycles, that like breaks out of the box and the structures that we've been contained in the past, in order to facilitate that future potential to like come into the present. That's why I feel like it's ruled by both Saturn, the past, the authority, the structure, and Uranus, breaking out of the box, the revolutionary, the rebel, for the purpose of aligning to and bringing forth, or clearing the way so the future can come into full fruition, okay? So that's what this is. We've come to the end of a cycle of being emotionally attached in a toxic way, perhaps, to systems of power and control that maybe have been stealing our power. And, you know, there could be something that we are receiving, okay, or something that's being given to us. This even could be like an emotional exchange with somebody on some level that is having a very powerful impact and helping us to release ourselves from something. But we're also, remember, talking about Venus in the square to the nodes, Venus ruling the position of Uranus. This is letting go, moving on from the things from the past that defined who we were, the images that we maintained, you know, the groups that we associated ourselves with, the group think that we identified with. But now as we're moving forward and we're redefining ourselves and we're reevaluating our preferences and our values and what it is that we really want and desire and who we even are anymore, a lot of that's got to go so that we can go in this new direction and answer the soul call that's ringing right now of the higher destiny that is being activated right now. Is this cosmic blueprint, and our transition into the age of Aquarius is underway and comes into fruition. So that's what I'm going to say about the tarot, you guys. To me, that's a powerful tarot message, in consideration that we also have the Sun Uranus square, which, you know, this is breaking up the norm. This is breaking through stagnation. And then Pluto and the moon, powerful emotional release, ending toxic cycles of attachment to things that have been stealing our power. That's what it comes down to. And it could be coming through something that we receive somehow. So I don't know, guys, but that's what I have to say. Let's get a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe. What is one additional piece of information or guidance that we can use, that we need, that will benefit us to keep in mind as we go through this next couple days? And we got 2 cards, you guys. Both seem very appropriate. Focus, and you can't change another. Okay? Focus. Thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Focus your thoughts on God and on that part of you that is God. Tune in on God and his serenity over your life. When you can still your mind and think of God and be at peace in your mind, everything around you will fall into a peaceful routine in your home life, your business, and in all aspects of your life. Stay in this state of mind and you will prosper beyond your wildest dreams. And I feel like this, you know how I talk about, you know, as we move into this Aquarius energy, our ability to self-govern is going to be crucial in terms of like our ability to be successful in the way that things are going to start kind of like operating around here. And this is part of it, okay? This ability to focus our mind on what we want, to not be distracted by the noise or the chaos, to not get too ahead of ourselves, okay? To trust the process. Like, this is part of our new education that we are gaining as we move into this new energy. And then this one too, this is huge right now, you guys. You can't change another. With all this Chiron energy, with all this Aquarius energy and the Pluto energy, like, this is a person, and the North Node in Aries, like, this is a personal mission that we're on right now. The best way we can help anybody is through our example. We can show people the way through our example, through our actions and our behaviors, but we can't do any of this for anybody. This process of, you know, inner release, transmutation, alchemization, like transmuting our states of victimhood into these higher states of self-mastery, and, you know, releasing ourselves from these karmic cycles and stuff. Like, nobody can do that for anybody. It's a personal thing that happens within us. And yeah, so we need to keep that in mind. Also, as we transition out of this energy that favors control, don't try to control anybody else's process as well, even though it may be very tempting as we go through this period of time. Okay, you can't change another. Thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Wow, you guys, that's so crazy. Out of all of these cards right here, 2 came out of the deck and they both happen to have the exact same verse on there, which is like, you know, another one of those things to me. Like, wow. Okay, so that's something important. Thou will keep him in perfect peace whose mind, right, is stayed on thee. We've got to stay focused on the faith. Even if it feels like everything's crumbling around you guys, don't believe that. Actually, honestly, what's more likely is the way, like, when everything falls, you will come to find that it wasn't actually, you know, what you thought it was. It's maybe not as serious as you thought it was, and, you know, because that happened, things are actually working out better. But anyways, let me get back to reading the card. In your relationships with others, don't be possessive or try to make them do what you think they should do or act the way you think they should act. Never permit others to rob you of your peace of mind. Your peace and joy are in God and not in the words or actions of other people. Bless them and walk on. These are the money cards, you guys, this week. I feel like these are both very valuable pieces of information. Again, talk about information having value. The way that we choose to perceive and conduct ourselves, the way that we choose to see situations as we move forth in this new Aquarius energy, I'm telling you, is going to define our experiences, and both of these things are very, very relevant. I'm gonna stop talking now, you guys. That's what I have to say. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments, you guys. Your information is very valuable to me as well. I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that match up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on these whiteboards, I have a Facebook page where I post those, which you can find also in my description box below. Jana, who created the synchronicity cards, also posts the synchronicity cards over there. So if you want a closer look, that's where you will find those. And come back with me on my next video, you guys. It will be the new moon in Aquarius, and it's going to be a big one. It's in a square to Uranus, and we got a lot of other stuff going on with it. You don't want to miss that video. I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too, and I will see you then. Have a beautiful midweek this week, you guys, and until next time, bye.